I want to start this video off with a quick apology, just in case this gets a little bit long and a little bit rambly. Like, I'm planning to just go ahead and say what I want to say, and hopefully it doesn't go on too long, but if it does, just a quick heads up, I'm sorry. You know how long this video is going to be because you can see the time code and all that. I can't, so we'll just roll with it. And also, I want to preface this by saying I'm not here to change your opinion. So if you have one opinion on this situation and it's a certain way, I'm not here to convert you to my way of thinking. I'm not here to change anything about your opinion. All I want to do here is just, I want people to look at how they're responding to things and how they're dealing with the situation and give them an idea, just a little bit of advice on how they might be able to achieve what they want to achieve in a more respectful, correct way, I guess, is the way forward. So what I'm going to do, we're looking at this current ongoing debate in the Pokemon community ever since it was announced during the Nintendo Treehouse E3 presentation that not all Pokemon are going to be available in the Galar Pokedex. So basically, in Pokemon Sword and Shield, we're going to have a Pokedex that is a selection of Pokemon that are unique to Galar, as well as some Pokemon from previous generations, like we've already seen, such as, off the top of my head, Snover and Wingull and Milotic I've seen in there. There's a whole bunch of Pokemon from previous generations, but not all 800 plus Pokemon are going to be in there. There's going to be some Pokemon that don't make the cut and aren't programmed into the game. And understandably, a lot of people are upset about it. But what I want to clear up is there aren't two sides to this argument. There are two different camps, but there are not two sides. Because the one side, obviously, is the people who are very vocally annoyed about this decision. And then there are the people who just don't care, who it doesn't affect them. They're still going to buy the game anyway. That's the long story short of the two arguments. But what I want to do is I want to look at these two arguments. Obviously, I've got a little bit of bias because my own opinion is going to be in there. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and explain one camp, which is going to be the camp that is obviously very against this idea. And also I'm going to explain the camp that just doesn't care. Because nobody, and I must make it clear, nobody in this situation, as far as I'm aware, is thinking, oh, it's a great idea that they aren't including all the Pokemon in the game. Nobody that I'm aware of has said this is a positive thing. I've just seen people who think it's negative and people who it makes no difference to, who are indifferent. Nobody is saying it's a good idea. I just want to clear that up. So on the side of the people who are very much like, you know, angry about this decision, I totally and unequivocally understand why you're annoyed. So naturally, Pokemon have said for years and years that they want you to be able to transfer all your Pokemon up, even from Generation 1, all the way through the generations, so you continually have these Pokemon that are your partners throughout your life as you learn and grow. That's something they've been promising for a long time. And to see them turn back on that argument is on that promise is a very disappointing one. And I totally see that. I can understand why you'd be annoyed, because basically there's this roadblock where you're going to transfer these Pokemon who have been with you potentially since the first generation all the way through your Pokemon gaming life, all the way into Pokemon Home, and then they're going to sit there because they can't proceed any further than Pokemon Home at the moment, because Pokemon Sword and Shield haven't got that Pokemon's coding planned in. A lot of people are getting confused that this is purely about I want a national dex. Like, apparently that's what people think the argument is, and it's not. Because, yes, it would be nice to have a national Pokedex, but Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon didn't have a national Pokedex. However, it did have every Pokemon in existence able to be programmed, like already programmed into the game, so that even if it didn't appear in the Pokedex, you could still transfer that Pokemon into the latest generation of games, and you could still use that Pokemon for online play, for a shiny hunting Pokemon, or just to have your Pokemon, your living dex there with you the whole step of the way. So this is not specifically about we want a national dex, it's just we want a Pokemon game that can have all the Pokemon in it, regardless of whether it's in the Galar Pokedex, whether it's in a national dex or not. Because, I completely see this point of view, because part of the joy of playing a Pokemon game is, yeah, there are new Pokemon, but I still want to be able to play with my favorite Pokemon. So for example, there's no confirmation yet that my favorite Pokemon Poliwhirl is going to be in the game, or any of its evolution line is going to be in the game. So there's potential that when Sword and Shield come out, my favorite Pokemon is going to not make the cut for the game. And that kind of sucks, it does suck, because it's like, wow, I literally can't play a Pokemon game with Poliwhirl. That's going to suck. At the same time, I'm super excited for the new Pokemon, but I'm trying to stick to this argument first, which is, the why this is such a bad thing. So there's that side of it. There's the competitive side of it, where people have bred so many competitively viable Mons and, have studied the metagame and have got perfect teams ready to go. Obviously, they were excited to incorporate the new Pokemon into the meta, but restricting the amount of Pokemon that are in the game and taking certain Pokemon out, like, for example, if Gardevoir doesn't make the cut into the game, then suddenly, or Landorus, for example, which is very popular in VGC, then suddenly you're having to rework all these teams, but not in a fun way where it's like, oh, well, now I've got 900 plus Pokemon to choose from. It's now, well, I still only have like 600 Pokemon to choose from. Some of the best Pokemon for like VGC are no longer available. This is way too restrictive. And I completely understand. And I can see why people would think this is a big negative. Now, I don't have a problem with people voicing their concern. Like, yes, when the thing was first announced, I made a lot of tweets. I made a lot of tweets kind of poking fun at people who are reacting so negatively to this. And I'm not proud of it. And to be honest, I should have thought before I tweeted, because it's just created a big, clusterfuck of people getting mad at me and being like, you don't care. Like the thing is, I'm so indifferent to this situation, and we'll get to that in a minute, that I shouldn't have joked, because people were heated, and when people are heated and they see a joke, they assume it's directed specifically at them and no one else, and then they get mad, and I shouldn't have tweeted about it, but it's one of those where I'm a sarcastic bastard. I'm always going to tweet before I engage my brain. It happens. I try, but a lot of people were tweeting negative things about this, and it's okay to do that. Your Twitter and your social media is your voice to the wider community and to the game developers themselves. So by all means, if you are unhappy with this situation, with the fact that Pokemon are going to be stuck in Pokemon Home and not able to go into the next games, yes, it's a reason to be annoyed. And furthermore, what's annoying people is that there's seemingly no reason for this. This is seemingly a backtrack on the, oh, we want you to carry your favorite Pokemon all the way through every generation possible, and we never want to put a stop to that. It seems that they have done that, which is obviously a horrible backtrack in itself, but also because people can't understand, well, why not just delay the game? Although granted, Pokemon can't really delay the games, because then that would delay the anime, and saying to a TV company, oh, the game's not ready, so we can't really release the anime in the slot that that you've given us, that doesn't really go well. Like, TV companies aren't particularly flexible, so I can understand why they wouldn't want to delay the anime. It would delay the TCG as well. Like, there are so many things all connected to the release of a brand new Pokemon game that moving the launch date isn't as easy as something like Animal Crossing, which doesn't have a side anime or an Animal Crossing TCG and other projects that are so tightly connected to it. So I can understand them not wanting to move the launch day, but a lot of people are kind of in the mindset of, well, can't they just hire more people to work, to work harder, to get more things programmed into the game? Can't they patch it later? I mean, there's potential for them to patch the game later. Like, depending on how the backlash goes, they might decide to throw their hands up and go, sorry, guys, we thought we were doing our best to make the best gaming experience possible for you. You've told us that that's not what we're giving you, so we are going to patch the game at a later date. Or it might well be that in the next Pokemon games, so Sword and Shield 2 or whatever it ends up being, maybe it's a third game in the series, maybe that's where they'll include a national dex or access to all the Pokemon. It's one of those where we don't know what's going to happen until Game Freak or the Pokemon Company tells us what's going to happen. And I can see all of these gripes, and I just want you to understand, whilst I'm not in that same camp, because it doesn't bother me that much, I understand why you're all annoyed. I completely empathize. Like, I understand. I get it. and I know why you're annoyed, and your reasons to be annoyed are completely valid. What I have a problem with is the way people are reacting. There's very much this, oh, if I make a loud enough noise, I'll get a free dessert kind of attitude, which doesn't work with game developers. I guess the thing I want to say about the backlash thing is it's okay to be annoyed. I understand, like I've said, I understand that you're annoyed and you're justified in being annoyed because it is a stupid idea and I can understand why people are upset about it. But the thing to note is the way you are voicing your unhappiness. Because with games companies, with any company or any entity that is so, like, has social media, basically. So I'll use myself as an example. If I say make a mistake in a video, or I'm doing something in a video series that someone doesn't particularly appreciate, and they're like, maybe you could do that differently. If someone comes at me, effing and jeffing, telling me I suck and I'm shit and this one little thing that I've done wrong ruins the series for you and you might as well just quit being a YouTuber now because you're so shit. Like, am I going to listen to that person who's literally cursing at me, calling me names, telling me that I'm shit and that I should give up, and as opposed to the person who goes, hey Liam, one thing that's bothering me is the way you edit this one thing particularly. Like, if you could just edit it in a slightly different way so it's less jarring to someone watching the video, then maybe, that'll probably improve the video for you. That person, I'm going to go, wow, what constructive criticism. I can see how that's a problem. A few people have calmly mentioned this. I'll definitely rectify that. Whereas it's a similar situation with the Pokémon Company or with any games company. If you're going, wow, this one decision has ruined your franchise, way to fuck over us fans, how dare you, you might as well close up shop now, they're going to get thousands of those messages a day. And they're going to go, okay, well, you can't voice a respectful, sensible, tweet in you literally, if you are the kind of person that goes in, all guns blazing, swearing, shouting, you're going to get ignored. You're going to get muted on Twitter. You're going to get blocked on Twitter. They're just not going to listen to you. Whereas if you're someone who goes, hey, Pokémon Company, I'm really excited for the new games, except I'm not going to lie, not being able to transfer my Pokemon over, that's really bumming me out. That's making me not want to buy the games. Is there any way you can patch it? There are, I'm giving bad examples, but there are calm ways and respectful ways to give feedback to a company, even if it's negative, to help promote change. Change will come if enough people contact Game Freak and contact Pokemon and say, look, this is what we want. The problem is if you're saying it in an aggressive or violent manner, your voices are probably going to be ignored. Because no one's going to sit there and take your shit when they could just pump this game out anyway. They could just pump out Sword and Shield, cater it to a child audience, which is the target audience of the games, who are going to buy it anyway, and the indifferent audience, like myself, who are probably going to buy it anyway, because, even if Poliwhirl's not in it, I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy using the other Pokemon, and they'll just pump it out anyway. If you want change, you've got to tell them that you want change, but you've got to do it in a manner that they're going to acknowledge and they're going to listen to, where they're going to go, okay, we've heard your voices. If you're screaming and shouting at them, believe it or not, they're not going to hear your voices, because they're going to go, well, that's a fucking nut job. That person's literally insane. I'm not going to take advice from him about how to, make my game. Whereas if someone is being respectful and calm, that's how you're going to get change. That's how you're going to facilitate change. And I think it's really important. Again, I'm going to reiterate, just in case you've forgotten already, I understand why you're angry. The problems that people are having with these games are completely justified. And I completely agree that not including all the Pokemon in the game, not even coding them into the game, was a stupid decision. 100% agree with you, and I'm on board with that. The difference is, and this is where I'll explain the other camp in this debate, is I'm indifferent to it. To me, having all the Pokemon in a particular Pokemon game makes no difference to me. I don't mind. I'm one of those, I want to say one of the minority, I guess, that enjoyed Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I enjoyed them. I guess there was a nostalgia factor in there because it's, a reimagining of Pokemon Yellow, but I very much enjoyed the games. In fact, if anything, I'm upset about Pokemon Sword and Shield not being the same style of graphics as the Let's Go games, because to me, the Let's Go games are my favorite graphical style I've ever seen a Pokemon game in. So I'm a little bit like, oh, Sword and Shield look like Ultra Sun and Moon in HD. Oh, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, that doesn't make me go, everything I've seen so far is crap. Like, one thing I've seen a lot of is people going, like people's Twitter, you can watch them build up and go, wow, you know what, Dynamaxing doesn't look like my kind of thing, but it looks really cool. Wow, the Galar region's beautiful. Look at all these cool new Pokemon. This game's story looks really interesting. The way they're incorporating the sports and sponsorship idea, like, you know, maybe connecting to the kind of esports people within us, that kind of thing. Like, everything about this game looks really cool. Oh, we can't have all the Pokemon in it from previous generations. This game sucks. I'm not going to buy it. Like, I personally don't get that point of view. And, like, that's the part that I don't understand. I understand being annoyed. I understand why the limited number of Pokemon thing annoys you, and I get that. What I don't understand is how that undoes all the hype that you've got for the game. Like, how does that make Corviknight any less cool? How does that make Wooloo any less cute? How does that make the champion, who looks a little bit sinister and could be a part of the evil team for all we know, how does that make him any less, like, of an interesting character? How does that make the region any less beautiful? How does that make the wild area, which looks like a really fun overworld section of a Pokemon game, like with overworld sprites, how does that make that look any less interesting? That's the part I don't understand. I don't understand how you can go from, like, 85% hype for a game to literal 0 because you can't transfer in, I don't know, Shroomish and Breloom. That's the bit that I don't get, and that's the bit that I can't understand. Like, I'm going to repeat myself again, because why not? I understand why you're annoyed that can't happen. I just don't understand how that completely spoils the game. Like, if my favorite Pokemon isn't in it, hell, if my top 10 favorite Pokemon aren't in the game, I'll still find enjoyment from plenty of the new Pokemon and plenty of the other Pokemon that I may have not normally used, because there are plenty of Pokemon out of the 800 plus that are available that I've probably never used. So if the Galar Pokedex is like 450 Pokemon, I'm sure I'll find something within there that I've never used before that I'm giving a shot, because I like more than a handful of Pokemon. But it's one of those where, again, I'm not saying great idea, Game Freak. I'm not saying, oh wow, what a great idea. I'm completely agreeing with everybody that thinks it's a stupid idea. I just don't think it's that big of a deal to me. And that's the important part, is I'm saying to me, it's not a big deal because of the way I play Pokemon games, which is I play through the story, I have a bit of a shiny hunt. Yeah, I'll collect all the Pokemon in the Pokedex, but if there aren't 900 plus Pokemon, it's not going to bother me. And I think that's where I fall. My personal opinion, this is my biased take on it, is I don't care. As long as I have a Pokemon game with a Pokemon story, with Pokemon and new Pokemon in a new region that I've never seen before, so it's something new, something refreshing for me, then I'll probably enjoy the game. I mean, the story might be wank. Like, there's time for the story of the Galar region to be absolutely garbage, in which case I'll then be disappointed in the games. But the idea of certain older Pokemon that don't, in Game Freak's mind, fit the region being in the game, like not being in the games, that doesn't bother me. Like, I don't mind. And again, for those who are like, oh, Liam's just a paid shill, I'm literally agreeing with you. Like, you can call me a shill if you want, because I've worked with Pokemon in the past, but I'm literally agreeing that the Pokemon Company or Game Freak or whoever up in the higher levels of the company made these decisions. I don't agree with that decision. I don't agree that it was a good idea. And I think if they want to help themselves and help business, they will at least announce that they're going to patch the game within the first year of it being out, or the first 6 months of it being out. Like, I am on your side and agree. The only difference is that it doesn't bother me enough for me to be like, this game's ruined. That's all. That's my take on it. But I don't want anybody that is in my side of this, or my camp, because I don't really see it as two separate sides. I just see it as two people arguing two different points, but they're not opposing points. They're just different points, if that makes sense. I don't want anyone that is the same situation of me, where they're like, oh, I'm indifferent to this. Like, it doesn't affect my viewing of the game. I don't want you people arguing with the people who are annoyed about the problem, because the people who are annoyed about this situation are completely justified in their annoyance. How they bugger off Discord. How they conduct themselves in the way they express themselves to the Pokemon Company in wanting change, that's something I do judge people on. Because if you're shouting and screaming and throwing your toys out the pram and swearing, you're not going to enforce change. You're not going to bring change. You're just going to make yourself look very petty and just very childish. Like, I don't want to be calling people childish, and I don't want to be calling people names. Like, yeah, I did it on Twitter the other day, but I just don't think that's the right way to go about things. You know, fair enough. You know, the whole "can I speak to the manager please" culture and cancel culture is rife at the moment, where people are like, you've made a mistake, we're going to cancel your game. Like, I get that you're annoyed and I get that you're frustrated, but just sit down, take a deep breath and go, okay, I want to tell Nintendo, I want to tell Pokemon, I want to tell Game Freak that I'm not happy with the direction that they've gone in. How can I express that in a calm, respectful manner that they will then acknowledge and go, wow, a lot of people have been addressing this now. We should probably start looking into ways we can fix it. That's the way we're going to make change. And I know some people have said, yeah, but Liam, they've changed their policy and they've said that this is how Pokemon games are going to be in the future, that every Pokemon game now is going to have a tailored Pokedex, which will feature some Pokemon, but not all of them. Yes, that is a policy change that they've introduced. However, just think that wasn't their policy before. They've now changed their policy to this that they think is right. That does not mean that they can't change that policy back. This is the thing. Everyone's treating this like it's a one and done. Like, wow, so they've decided this is the way they're going forward. They'll never change it. No. Of course they can change it. Of course they can decide, that was a bad policy. We saw it with a controversy that Patreon had earlier this year. We saw it with the controversy, again, that we saw with Mario Maker 2. Like, there is potential for them to hear our voices and to change things. I know that certain people who have connections with the Pokemon Company, myself included, are reaching out to the people that we know and going, yeah, this not all Pokemon being in the game thing is kind of a bummer to a lot of people. Like, you probably should mention to someone higher up that this needs changing. Like, there are people prominent in the community that are working to help bring this change. But at the same time, we're doing it in a calm, respectful manner. And this, if you take anything away from this video, it's that your point of view is valid. But please just approach voicing it to these companies in a calm and respectful manner, because screaming and shouting, effing and jeffing ain't gonna do it. So basically the point of this video, and sorry if it's been a bit long, is just to tell everybody that their opinion is valid. So yes, this idea of not having all the Pokemon in the game is a stupid idea. I 100% agree with you. If you're indifferent to this and you're like, well, this isn't going to affect my enjoyment of the game because the games look freaking awesome, I agree with you. And that is also my stance on the situation. However, people who are against it, who are mad about it, who I've just told you are justified to have this opinion and to voice it calmly so that we can then try and bring about change, by all means. But what you shouldn't be doing is shitting on people who are still excited for the games, because people have every right to be excited for the games. Similarly, if you're excited for the games, and yes, this makes me a hypocrite and it makes me regret some of the tweets that I posted over the past few days, if you are basically indifferent and if you don't care that this situation has happened and you're still going to buy the games anyway, don't go telling people that their opinions are invalid just because they disagree with you and they want change in the game. If you're indifferent to it, stay indifferent. Because why, if you're indifferent, are you then fighting the people who just want to improve the game? It doesn't make sense. So I think from this moment on, especially from this video, so anybody now that's like dragging up my previous tweets from the past few days going, Liam, this isn't what you said in your video. This video is being recorded on Thursday, the 13th of June. So as of the 13th of June, this is my stance on the situation, which is it's okay to be negative about it. It's okay to not like this decision. And it's okay to voice that opinion to Game Freak as long as you do it calmly and respectfully. At the same time, don't chop down others just because they're enjoying the game or looking forward to the games. They're allowed to do that too, whether the Pokemon are in it or not. And similarly, in reverse, if you're indifferent to this situation, just be indifferent. Continue to tweet how happy you are and how much you can't wait for the games. At the same time, if someone says they're not looking forward to it, Just don't argue with them. Just let them have let them vent to you, because they're just trying to get these emotions out, and just leave them to it. That's the way we should do it. Just let's be more positive in this community, and let's talk to each other and the creators of the games respectfully and calmly, and we may just bring about the change that you want. That's pretty much all I want to say on this. I'm not here looking for subs or anything like that. Like, hit sub if you're new and you've liked any of the things that I've said and you want to see more content from me, but it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to voice this opinion. It's not even an opinion. I just wanted to voice the fact that I just want you all to know that it's okay to have whatever opinion you've got right now. Unless your opinion is that aggressively swearing at these companies is going to solve the problem, because it won't. It literally won't. They'll just ignore it. Just like when you aggressively swear at me in comments, I just ignore it. In fact, I hide your comments from the channel so that then you just shout into the void like an idiot. So that's the way it is. Hope you've got something new from this. Like, I'm not here to change anyone's opinion. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm not here to change anyone's opinion. If you've taken anything away from this and gone, okay, I kind of see both camps of this and I kind of understand it more, and yeah, maybe we should just respect each other a bit more, then that's good. Then maybe if I've helped one person get to that, then I've achieved something with this video. Sorry it's a bit long. I can already tell it's a bit long. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Keep on training.